Hello there everyone, it's King Sloth back again with another military reaction video. Today we're reacting to the 1971 How India Won the War Against Pakistan. And this has been recommended now so many times and I've kept missing it. And multiple repeats. It's been on the list and then it's been moved further and further down the list and now it's time to get it done. So for those who don't know me, my name's Sloth. I was in the British Army for just under 8 years before transferring across to the Royal Air Force. Now I've done just under 4 years in the Air Force and I do YouTube on the side, and this is the things I like to do. I like to do daily video logs. That goes up every 6 PM UK time, and then I try and get as many reaction videos done as I can because you guys seem to love it. And you're not interested in talking to me, you're interested in reaction videos, so let's get into it.
1971. The Pakistan Eastern Command agrees to surrender all Pakistan armed forces in Bangladesh to Lieutenant General Jagjit Singh Arora, General Officer Commanding-in-Chief of Indian and Bangladesh forces in the Eastern Theater. This surrender includes all Pakistan land, air, and naval forces, as well as all paramilitary forces and civil armed forces. These forces will lay down their arms and surrender at the places where they are currently located to the nearest regular troops under the command of Lieutenant General Jagjit Singh Arora.
So just to lay down arms. Brave, considering their history.
The instrument of surrender was signed by the Pakistani and Indian commanders in Dhaka on the 16th of December 1971. 50 years ago, India imposed a crushing defeat on Pakistan. The country was split into two, and a new nation was created, Bangladesh.
Yeah.
This is Dhaka's Suravardi Udyan, formerly known as Ramna Racecourse. This was the venue of the surrender ceremony that took place 5 decades ago.
Is that all meant to be like an eternal flame
or
Napoleon?
The chief of the Pakistani forces, General Amir Abdullah Khan Niazi, signing the agreement with Lieutenant General Jagjit Singh Arora, the general officer commanding-in-chief of the Eastern Command during the Indo-Pakistan War of 1971. It was India's greatest military triumph.
The whole country.
The Indian military's thumping winds on land, sea, and air crushed Pakistan. It lost half of its territory with the birth of Bangladesh.
Awesome. That's a good point.
The Pakistan army surrendered with 93,000 soldiers, the biggest ever surrender after the Second World War.
Didn't then Pakistan invade Bangladesh and did the mass genocide? Or am I getting years mixed up?
16th December is one of the red letter days in the history of independent India. Not only independent India, in the history of the world military history. There's not been a single instance when through a military action a nation has been created.
This is an unparalleled victory, the like of which very few nations can claim to have achieved. The outcome of the victory has changed not only the geography of South Asia, but even the political landscape of South Asia, and I would say Asia as a whole.
We haven't made a whole new nation.
The war lasted.
That's massive, not just for the South Asia, but the world.
It saw many
air
combat engagements.
It's like in World War II when Czechoslovakia turned into the Czech Republic and Slovakia.
Pakistan's Air Force
changed the whole geographic pole of the world.
Genghis Khan, a preemptive strike on 11 Indian air stations. It paved the way for India's formal entry into the war. In the following days, the IAF conducted nearly 6,000 sorties in the eastern and western fronts.
Jesus. So Pakistan struck first and then didn't realise how bad it would be.
To the historic victory.
Nice, man.
the other hand, the Indian Navy conducted one of the most successful offenses in modern naval
This is what I've
history,
reacted to already.
Operation Trident.
Yeah.
On the night of the 4th of December, a group of 3 small missile boats of the Indian Navy carried out an audacious attack near the Karachi port, sinking 4
succeeded.
Pakistani ships. It was a turning point of the 1971 war with Pakistan.
The Indian Army is in Bangladesh. Your air force has been destroyed. You are surrounded on all sides. And if you don't surrender, you will be killed unmercifully.
Oh wow, Jesus, that's a bit
You
of a...
surrender or we
Whoa.
wipe you out was the message.
That's a mad thing to say when you think about it. It's like, all the help you thought you were going to get, it ain't coming. If you don't put down all your weapons, we're going to kill you. Cool. There you go, white flag out.
Given by Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw to Pakistan on the 13th of December 1971. The Indian Army's achievements during this war have few parallels in history.
Agreed.
फौज का काम है लड़ने का, कमांडर का काम है फौज को तैयार रखने का और प्लान देने का. मैंने उनको प्लान दिया था.
The army is to fight, and it is the job of the commander.
लद्दाख से लेके
Memorable as well, from Ladakh to every part of the border. I used to meet all the soldiers, which is an amazing officer to me. You speak to every bloke around you, you've made it.
पहले बात करता था.
You tell them, well, I've given you all our training weapons, but there is one thing that...
आपको ट्रेनिंग दी है, मैंने हथियार दिया है, मैंने प्लान बनाया है. एक चीज नहीं दी मेरा दिल.
That's my heart. The next time we meet, we will be in Pakistan.
तो पाकिस्तान के अंदर मिलूंगा. उनकी मोराल बहुत हाई थी.
Yeah, giving squaddies a purpose is
Once
massive.
the instrument of surrender was signed, the Indian Army had the responsibility of transporting the 93,000 Pakistani prisoners of war safely to India. In an interview given to our network in 1997, Field Marshal Manekshaw told us about his experience of interacting with Pakistani prisoners of war.
Oh, wow.
तो जब मैं
So it wasn't just like go back to your country, you're a prisoner.
पाकिस्तान सिपाही और उनकी फैमिलीज वगैरह ले आया.
That's crazy.
मेरी फर्ज थी कि उनको संभालना.
And their
तो मैंने
families
उनको
in
कैंप में
custody.
लगाया. आपको एक किस्सा बताऊं.
That's mad.
मैंने जो कैंप में लगाया 5,000 यहाँ, 4,000 यहाँ, 6,000 यहाँ, और मैं जाया करता था मिलने. मैं जब एक कैंप में गया तो वहाँ सब सूबेदार मेजर और सरदार थे. तो जब मैं गया
Cannot come here.
मैंने सूबेदार मेजर साहब, पाकिस्तान सूबेदार मेजर साहब के हाथ मिलाया. मैंने कहा साहब मैं देख सकता हूँ. आप कहते साहब ले गए.
Any more translation here?
और वही सवाल हमेशा जो मेरे जानों से पूछता हूँ वही पूछा कि साहब पलंग में खटमल तो नहीं है. कि नहीं साहब. मच्छरदानी है. मच्छरदानी हाँ साहब. मैं लंगर में जा सकता हूँ.
Yeah.
लंगर में गया.
Because you have to treat prisoners of war even though they are prisoners. You still have to treat them with utmost care. Sleep, food, water.
लेट्रीन में गया. वहाँ पाकिस्तानी काम करता था. मैंने हाथ मिलाया. उसने इनकार
Politely refused to
हाथ
shake
भी नहीं
hands.
मिलाएगा. तो उसने हाथ मिलाया. जब हम वापस आ गए तो वो सूबेदार मेजर साहब मुझे कहते हैं कि हजूर आप गुस्ताखी माफ़ करेंगे. मैं कहा आप सूबेदार मेजर साहब हैं, जो मर्जी है कहें. कहता अब हमें मालूम हो गई साहब कि आपकी फ़ौज क्यों जीती है. आप आए, आपने
Now I
हमसे
understand why
पूछा
India won the war. You asked so
खाना
many
ठीक है,
questions.
खटमल तो नहीं है,
Ooh.
मच्छरदानी है वगैरह.
So in other words, you're saying the reason why India
साथ
won
भी
was
आपने
because
हाथ
the
में.
generals actually wanted to
हमारे
know
साहब लोग ऐसा नहीं करते. वो अपने
about
आप को
the
नवाब
people
समझते.
below them. Whereas Pakistan is interested in making money.
Although the war is remembered for the liberation of Bangladesh, some of the most gallant military operations were those that were fought on the Western Front.
Oh, don't think that.
The Battle of Longewala in the Thar Desert of Rajasthan was one of them.
Oh my God.
It has been depicted in great detail in filmmaker J.P. Dutta's 1997
This sounds
movie.
yes, cringy. A lot of people don't realise that if you have air superiority, you've won. That's how it works. If you control the skies, you have won that battle. In today's current climate, you've
held
won.
off more than 2,000 Pakistani soldiers and 40 tanks.
First time the armed forces had a decisive victory, and it changed the dynamics of the region, the morale of the
I mean, even behind him shows his patriotic. He's all checks he's worked on, all the military documents.
Greatly on top.
It's good to see it.
Between the three services
Proud
in
victory for India.
1971 war, whether it was at the level of Manekshaw, PC law, and
Whereas we don't have anything like this. I can't think of any place where we can go and look at all the different battles we've had and go and appreciate our troops. We have obviously like the grave sites on the Arboretum, but we don't have anything like this battle happened, and this is who died, and this is what happened in the battle. You don't get it.
To commemorate 50 years of the historic victory. Last year, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi flagged off the celebrations on the 16th of December.
In other words, Pakistan thought there was going to be a war, so they started attacking India, and then when it came to India attacking back, they couldn't handle it. I thought, wow.
The 1971 victory was significant on many counts. The war changed the geopolitics of the entire region. In August 1971, India had signed a treaty of peace, friendship and cooperation with the Soviet Union.
Ooh.
While Pakistan received active support from the United States. Much has been said about the hostility between US President Richard Nixon and Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Nixon and his assistant for national security affairs, Henry Kissinger, even encouraged China, a long-standing ally of Pakistan, to mobilize its armed forces along its border with India. But the Indo-Soviet treaty was undoubtedly a major deterrent for China.
India.
Today, Western Europe and America.
Imagine how different the world would be if that happened. That'd be another world war in the 1970s. China would have got involved.
It's utter nonsense.
And then Russia would have got involved, and then it would have been carnage. It would have been another world war, easily.
All of them, led by President Nixon and Kissinger in the United States, and the Western powers, who were all part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and its sister organization, the SEATO and CENTO, of which Pakistan was a member, supported Pakistan, both militarily and in the world forums. We didn't have a friend in the world except for the Soviet Union and our immediate neighbors, Bhutan and Nepal. We didn't have a world thing.
I mean, Nepal was still a very, Islamic states were all some of the best soldiers in the world.
Even traditional friends like Indonesia became pro-Pakistani. The events and what was happening inside East Pakistan was ignored by the Western press.
Yeah.
And ignored with a purpose.
This is true, because when I've asked my family about this particular war, they ain't got a clue it even happened. Well, they don't know what I'm on about.
The war was fought both on the eastern and the western fronts in a very short span of time. India adopted an aggressive strategy on the eastern front and a defensive strategy on the western front.
I mean, they've got the numbers, haven't they?
The Blitzkrieg campaign that we ran to hit Dhaka, the last was seen only in the Second World War. That also in the North Africa region where both sides were switching sides, and it was possible in a desert. But here we achieved that in a riverine country at a speed.
One of the shortest wars in history.
Nobody ever after that or before that
Indian armed forces, near enough,
action.
50 million.
On the eastern front, the Indian army defeated 4 divisions and 30,000 paramilitary
crazy.
forces
You
of the
think about it.
Pakistani army.
Just the difference alone in group sizes, surely you'd know you were going to
The
lose.
Indian Air Force too
Because your
orchestrated
Air
its
Force was
forces
down, you
systematically.
do just give up.
The prioritization
India wouldn't
was
have even
air
had to
defense
use
of
their Air
homeland
Force
first,
when you think about it, but
counter-air
because
bombing to
Pakistan
pin
didn't have
path
one left.
down next, followed by support to the army and the navy. In the east, 3 MiG-21 squadrons operating from Guwahati and Tezpur took part in counter-air escort and close air support tasks during the Blitzkrieg action in Bangladesh.
Yeah, just making your troops go through faster.
In the Western theater, the MiG-21 was employed in its primary task, that of air defense, escort and interception.
We had the MiG-21, we had the Su-7s, Sukhoi 7s, we had the Hunters, we had the Nats. These were the 4 main fighter fleets. Then we had the Canberras, which were the bombers. Indian Air Force, I must tell you, was also prepared for possible Chinese support to the Pakistanis.
But what I find crazy is how Pakistan attacked their Air Force first. Obviously didn't attack it enough to actually make a dent really in the Indian Air Force. And that's why they ended up fucking over. Because they didn't destroy the whole Indian Air Force. There was nothing Pakistan could have done to defend themselves.
The first major operation that the Indian Air Force did was using the MiG-21s to knock off the main airfields at Tezgaon next to Dhaka. Now, that is where the problem was. If we were to knock off that airfield, we would have grounded the entire Pakistan Air Force in that. And that is where the MiGs, they came, rocketed both Tezgaon and Kormetullah runways, and they repeated these attacks every few hours.
Yeah,
so that
Operation Trident.
within 3 days, Dhaka, all airfields around Dhaka were closed, and total air superiority had been achieved.
Experts believe one of the biggest reasons for the failure of the Pakistan Air Force was defection by Bengali technicians and pilots. The IAF also helped the Mukti Bahini organize a formation of light aircraft called Kilo Flight, which were manned and serviced by those who had defected from the PAF.
Pakistan had always ignored the Pakistani Air Force, and
so Bengali, so the people who defected from Pakistan Air Force become Bengal anyway. Put the planes.
The Bengali technicians, well, nearly 50% of the Pakistan Air Force, they defected. Some of them were not trusted by Pakistan Air Force. They formed the Mukti Bahini. Indian Armed Forces helped the Mukti Bahini set up. We also helped them set up the Kilo Flight, which was an Air Force flight, which had a handful of aeroplanes. But they are the guys who also took part in the, war. In fact, they were the first to, strike. Clearly, Indian Air Force had a favorable situation in the east, also because Pakistan had only 16 Sabre aircraft and a few transport and helicopters, compared to 13 fighter bomber squadrons of Indian Air Force. And similar was the ratio between
there was no chance they were going to win it.
We started training the Mukti Bahini, started supplying them a certain amount of weapons, and organizing them into a guerrilla force. This started towards the end of May, about 2 months after the beginning of the troubles in East Bengal.
So these defectors in the Pakistan military were trained by the Indian military.
While fighting to liberate East Pakistan raged in the east, India strategically fought for containment on the Western Front. Flying officer Nirmaljit Singh Sekhon, a pilot of the Gnat detachment based in Srinagar, was one of the heroes of the 1971 war. Making the ultimate sacrifice, he defended the Srinagar airbase when it was attacked by a wave of 6 enemy Sabre aircraft.
But defended it.
He was posthumously awarded the Paramveer Chakra, the highest gallantry award given to the Indian Armed Forces.
That's amazing.
Though air power was effectively used in 1965, the 1971 war was the first real tri-services war. The Air Force and Navy complemented the efforts of the Army in both the sectors with devastating effects.
Once you have the Air Force controlling everything, you've won the battle.
For the first time, the Indian Navy used firepower in all 3 dimensions that navies operate in: surface, subsurface, and air. The Indian Navy's first aircraft carrier, INS,
I suppose it would have been good for these people as well. That's really, it sounds bad. Well, these people have been training for that long, learning how to use this, how to do this, and then when it's actually come to it, they're like, okay, we actually can do it, and we've won. They must be like,
East Pakistan. Starting December 4th, her Seahawks and Elises flew nearly 300 sorties hammering Chittagong, Cox's Bazar, and Khulna. This continued for over a week, preventing the Pakistani army from dispatching reinforcements or evacuating by sea.
Again, hits over and over and over again.
As far as Navy is concerned, I must tell you, in the East, they had moved their Vikrant into the Bay of Bengal, and they were doing air operations. They were hitting Chittagong, they were hitting targets, but there was good coordination between the Army and the Navy, Air Force and the Navy, so that we are not hitting the same targets at the same time.
Next every time they were trying to get supplies or leave or run away,
the Air Force and the
they were
Navy
getting
hit
stopped.
Karachi Harbour and Karachi Airfield more or less simultaneously.
They couldn't get their goal out, couldn't have logistics.
Oil refineries while
They're
they
done.
were hitting the harbour, knocking out
That's how it works.
ships in the harbour. The Air Force was taking on the refinery and the airfield. So the coordination between
the same thing has happened in near enough every single war ever. If you can't beat them straight away, you make sure they can't leave, and you almost starve them out. The bad thing about that is, obviously, there is then humanitarian crisis and whatnot. But if you want to win the war, stop them getting out, stop them getting reinforcements, stop them getting supplies. As soon as they have to rely on their own country seems to topple.
the Navy and the Air Force was absolutely outstanding.
As far as the Navy is concerned, Karachi was blocked. We had sunk Ghazi. The Arabian Sea, the Bay of Bengal was also blocked. The Pakistanis could not escape from there. There was threat of Enterprise, the 7th Fleet. We did not bother. We were very sure that Enterprise is only trying to threaten us. It will never come close to us because they will also suffer. And once they suffer, it will be a great damage to the reputation of the US Navy. And they will only continue to deter us, threaten us, but they will not take part.
Yeah.
All this while, the Indian army was
The Americans
making
are
a
there watching it, but
lightning
didn't want
dash
to
towards
hit any
Dhaka.
rockets to calls to get them
In a
involved in
matter
a
of
war where
days,
they don't want to be
India had
involved in.
Pakistan on its knees. Apart from taking nearly a quarter of the Pakistani army as prisoners of war, Indian forces also captured 15,000 square kilometers of its territory. India supported the Bangladesh liberation struggle with its heart and soul. An estimated 3 million East Bangladeshis had been killed in the genocide committed by West Pakistan. For India, it was a fight for justice.
Yeah, you've given an excuse to fall back.
मुझे कोई शक नहीं था कि क्या होगा, क्योंकि मैंने प्लान किया था पहले 7 महीने से प्लान किया था, काफ़ी फौज थी, अब मुझे कोई शक नहीं था कि क्या करेंगे.
As a nation, I think it is time that we forgot talking about the Panipats and Plasis and started celebrating the 71. For 2,000 years, we haven't had a victory like that.
Oh, that's actually really good. Actually, really good that was. I wasn't. I reacted to a lot of different things involving this war, but never had it ran down as well as that before. So pretty much, Pakistan tried to start the war because they were under the illusion that there was going to be a war. So they tried to blow up the Indian Air Force. The Indian Air Force then went, fucking hell, we're going to send our boats out, which was Operation Trident, destroyed loads of stuff in Pakistan. And then everyone started fighting. And India, compared to the size of Pakistan, there was no way that Pakistan would have won anyway. But they still give it a good go. And then eventually, when India, one of the megaphones was like, if you don't surrender, we've already destroyed your Air Force, there's no way you can run. Your Navy's being battered by us as well. Stop, or you're going to die. We are going to kill you. That was the words that he said. We are going to kill you. So, when you think of it like that, that's mad. But it has been King Sloth. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Leave a like if we're going to have 10 on this video. Comment down below what I should react to next. And subscribe. We were aiming for 4K by the end of the year. Just put that out there. Was aiming for 4K. And we're... Can we hit 5.5 by the end of the year? We'll see. We'll see. Stay tuned.